Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is October 16th, 2024, and we are going to do a follow-up from the property walk that took place on Friday, October 11th, 2024 at York Meadow Farm. That's right, we had our first permaculture design property walk that took place. We are going to have a report generated from that, and hopefully we will be able to use that information and the data collected during that property walk to consult with a couple other permaculture designers to make sure that we are moving forward in the right direction. And if we don't talk with additional permaculture designers, we will most certainly use this report that is being generated for fodder for discussion with those of you out there who are designing properties of your own or who are interested in doing so in the future. So with that today, we will let's just get right into it. If you want to know who we used and who came out to our property, you are going to have to get into the Patreon subscriber group at patreon.com/allaroundgrowth. I will be providing more details, all of my notes that I provided to the property designer or the guy who came out, and his intern for that matter. Beforehand, I will share all of my notes and all of the resources that I've shared with them and all of the resources that they share with us. Those will be shared with the Patreon crew. So all of you guys who are already subscribers, Sean, Rachel, Kiriki, Brian, it's very much appreciated. You guys make this show possible, and I will most certainly be sharing all of this with you. And if you want access to what it is that I'm talking about, then, and moreover, a Telegram group specific to the Patreon supporters, then join us over at patreon.com/allaroundgrowth. All right, so getting back to the property walkthrough and the property design, one of the things that I learned about property design through the lens of this particular designer, and I think a lot of people who are into permaculture, if you will, is that there are three fundamental components of a design, of property design. One is, and in this order, we've got water, first and foremost, access, and structures. So we've got to get our situations squared away in that order. Water, how does the land get water? How can we get water to the land? How do we store water? So on and so forth. How do we access various parts of the property? How do we access the property itself? And structures. What kind of structures are already there? And or what kind of structures are we looking to construct in the future? In our particular case, we have a large pond at York Meadow Farm. You can find the property online if you just simply Google York Meadow Farm, and you can see our property by simply looking at the Google business listing, and you can check us out on Google Maps and you can see exactly what we're working with there. But we've got a 1 acre pond on the property, and I believe we have pretty good access or potential for a well although we don't have one at this time. We'll get into that a little bit later. And all of the things that I thought needed to be addressed with regard to irrigation, from the pond to all of the projects that I'm interested in doing, were basically tabled. Because for those of you who are in the Patreon group, you will find out sooner than others, but it's highly likely that we have a construction project taking place on the homestead. This was just discussed in a family meeting last night, so I'm a little reluctant to share details until we iron out a few things and firm up the plans that were discussed together as a family. So I'm not going to make any of that public, but we've got some big changes on the horizon with regard to the homestead, and that, provided everything goes according to the desired plan, that is going to be our first priority and is something that will take up the majority of our time, effort, and energy for the next, I would estimate, I want to say 12 to 18 months, but the reality is we're probably looking at 18 to 24 months. So we can say with a fair amount of certainty that we're looking at priority number one taking up about 2 years of our time. And that's okay. It's important to know these things and understand these things and prioritize these things. And if you are anything like me and you're kind of a bit of a visionary and a dreamer of sorts, then it is very helpful to have someone come out and take a look at your property and tell you or help you discern what is a priority and what needs to be done now versus what can be done later. That's not to say that certain things aren't priority, but it's a matter of prioritization of the important things, or prioritizing your priorities. So the second thing that we talked about was the installation and location of a garden bed or a kitchen garden, vegetable garden, that will largely be used by my mom. It is something that she has talked about for a while, and honestly, it's something that I've talked her out of until we, quote, get a plan. And I feel conflicted about that because it's prevented her from doing something that she has wanted to do over time, which is, have a little kitchen garden at home. Yes, we have a tenant farmer. Yes, we get an abundance of produce and groceries from him. Yes, we are grateful for that, but there is something rewarding about growing your own things, or growing certain things that you're interested in, but your tenant, if you have a tenant farmer and are as lucky as we are to have one, that he doesn't grow, or things that are difficult to find at your local farmer's market, for example. So we're going to focus on that, possibly beginning next year. Possibly we're going to wait until after the construction project. We're not really sure exactly what's going to go first and how the location of the kitchen garden is going to impact the access to the potential construction site. So we'll see how this all shakes out, and I would just encourage you to stay tuned for details, and also, like I said, join the Patreon group for a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on, especially when we get into some video calls and reviewing the notes together in that way. Like I said, patreon.com/allaroundgrowth, where you will also find access to the Telegram group, where we talk amongst ourselves at great length, much more than we do on the Telegram group at t.me/allaroundgrowth. So check us out on Patreon, learn more, connect more, and grow deeper connections. You guys can probably hear that it's raining on the road. I'm about to jump on the highway, and I will share with you the third big takeaway from the property walk before I cut it off and keep this week's podcast episode brief. But like I said, we've got three main components of a design: water, access, and structures. We're pretty good with water at this point in time because of the pond and the fact that we have city water run all the way back from the main road to the cabin and barn in the back. We also have good, I would say, quite good actually, access to the cabin and barn in the back, despite the fact that we are looking at a driveway improvement project. We were advised to not move forward with any driveway improvement projects until the designer or a designer came out and walked the property with us, and that would allow the designer to get a good idea on what it is that we're doing with regard to the driveway, how that factored into the overall design, and what we could do while all of that equipment is out there in addition to what is already planned. You know, the idea of stacking functions and making use of the equipment while it's there for a big project. So we talked about that, and in terms of access, we are simply planning an improvement project for the driveway and making some additions in terms of turnarounds and parking for the tenant farmer and things like that. So finally, when it comes to structures, like I said, the big priority number one is the future structure that will be revealed later, and also the demolition of the trailer that was used for our tenant farmer's office. And if you can see me, that's big air quotes, office. It was a trailer that was acquired from an acquaintance who has a small farm in Zanesville, and it was something that I thought was going to be used by myself at the time I purchased it, but the reality is it was not. So once there was an actual need for it, my brother, my father, and myself rewired the trailer, made some repairs to it, ran electricity back to it, and we have a temporary pole that is set up back near it, and that temporary electric pole is what powered the trailer for our tenant farmer for a couple of years. And over the past few years, since getting his own residence established and built with his wife-to-be, there it has sat, and it has basically rotted. It's not in good shape. We're going to demolish it, and we're going to start doing so this weekend, this Saturday the 19th. We've got a 40 cubic yard dumpster being delivered on Friday, and we're going to rent that for 1 week. The nice thing about a dumpster rental being delivered on a Friday is, at least with this particular company, they charge you for the week the day after the delivery, because the delivery could come at 10 in the morning, it could come at 4 in the afternoon, and since they can't really tell you what time the dumpster is being delivered, they charge you from the next day forward, which in this case is Monday the 21st. And what's nice about that is we have 1 week from Monday, which basically gives us 2 weekends for demolition and cleanup and use of the property. So I am trying to get caught up in the kitchen before this demolition project, and a lot of that catch up involves making certain things, building up and replenishing inventory of items that are ready and can be packed to fulfill orders. Even though market season is over and complete, we had market season on Saturday, October 5th, just a week and a half ago. Orders have come in, and at 2 different retail locations, and orders for 6 cases of product have come in, and that is effectively what that would make for a great day of sales at market if I sold 6 cases of product. Mediocre day. Nevertheless, it's not market season. I'm still moving product, and I want to be prepared for, just in case my largest retailer submits an order, I want to be able to fill that and keep everyone happy, because as a business owner, that is what one should attempt to do. Because of everything that is going on, I was proactive, and I sent out an email to my customers just warning them that, due to circumstances here on the Homestead, there may be some delays in my ability to fulfill orders. And that, case in point, was exactly the case with this last order for Keller Meats and Market, or Keller Market and Cafe Bistro. They put an order in, and I'm not going to have that product for another couple or 3 weeks, because I literally just made the batch last week, and it's going to take at least 3 weeks minimum for it to be ready. So they understand that, and that's just the way it is sometimes when you're a one-man operation and the demand is high for your product. At any rate, that phone call is a good segue for me to begin wrapping up the podcast. Check that voicemail, make sure everything is A-OK for the orders that are being picked up today, both produce from the Asian market and supplies from the packaging distributor, the jars that I pack the sauerkraut and kimchi in. One final note that I'd like to mention here, because it's heartwarming and it's been awesome to witness, is what has taken place with Keller Farms. So we've got one of my retail customers is Keller Market and Cafe Bistro, and that is largely run and managed by Kaylee Keller of the Keller family, and the Keller family operates Keller Meats over in the neighboring town of Litchfield, Ohio. And they've been in business for a long time, quality meat products from a quality family. And her brother Kelton made mention a couple of weeks ago about his desire to help out a friend of his in North Carolina who was affected by the hurricanes. A farmer friend of his who was affected by the hurricanes. And he made some talk about putting together a trailer load of hay, and encouraged his sister, who runs all of the Keller Farms, Keller Meats social media stuff, to make a post about this and see if anyone would be interested in doing a little fundraiser and maybe making some contributions to the load of hay that he was going to run down to North Carolina. Well, the community here in Medina, in short order, assembled over 50 trucks and trailers, semis, pickup trucks, flatbed, stake bed trucks, 50 trucks and trailers, and rode down there in convoy fashion, leaving at 1 in the morning yesterday to arrive at the Boone County Airport, the Boone Municipal Airport, where all of this stuff was going to be staged for delivery to farmers in the surrounding area. In addition to the 50 trucks and trailers that were assembled for this convoy, of which our friends over at Whispering Acres, Janine and Scott, were a part of, who assembled 11 pallets of animal feed, over $150,000 was raised, along with a huge amount of supplies of all kinds, whether it be medical supplies, personal protective equipment, diapers, anything you could possibly think of that would be required in an emergency is what was assembled by our community here in Northeast Ohio. 50 trucks and trailers of hay and animal feed, and $150,000. It's remarkable. I would encourage you to check out Keller Meats on Facebook and Instagram and watch what they're doing. Like and share all of the work that they've done. It's been awesome. This is really, it makes me proud to be part of this community. It's what happened with all of this is nothing short of a miracle, and I simply just want to give Kelton a big shout out for everything that he's done. his family a big shout out for the support they've given to us as a family over the years, and so many other people in the community and elsewhere in North Carolina in this instance. So, you know, many thanks to everyone who made contributions to this effort. I failed to share this on the All Around Growth page. I'm not very good at social media. I'm trying, but you know, there's a lot going on, and I'm just having a difficult time keeping up with social media in many ways, the website and the podcast for that matter. But anyways, I hope that story warmed your heart. Check out more details, YouTube videos, interviews, and everything else from Kelton Keller and the Keller family on Facebook is probably the best place where you can find that. Keller Meats, Keller Farms. So guys, hopefully you found all of that enjoyable with regard to the update on the property walk, the little story about how Keller Farms here in the Medina area in Medina County is helping those in need, and just the incredible community that we have here together. And I'm grateful to be a part of this community. Look forward to being an even bigger and increased part of the community as our own little farm and homestead grows. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I will try to get this posted later today or this evening, and if not, it's going to be first thing tomorrow morning. So with that, this is Rob Kaiser. Thank you, and God bless.